When Franco led his Moors into Spain to challenge the Republicans, certain units of the left-wing forces adopted as their battle cry the slogan, "Remember the Holy Madonna of Cordova," and a secret society which may have started when the Arab general Tariq crossed into Iberia told the world that it was active again. After World War II, an important anti-Semitic German arrived in Madrid by a devious route and sought out the house of a nobleman. He gave the password, "Muerto a los marranos," death to the hogs, and it was not long before he found himself in the safety of Latin America, passed from one branch of the Garduna secret society to another. 1,200 years of connected history is the boast of the criminal organization which claims that it was responsible for crushing the last of Arab power in Europe, and that it was the favored tool of the Holy Inquisition against Jews, Muslims, and every kind of Marrano heretic which infested the most Catholic land of Spain. That's from Chapter 10, the Garduna, Holy Warriors of Spain, in Archon Doral's very interesting book, A History of Secret Societies. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth, my future slaves and serfs of the United States of Corporate America. I'd like to thank everybody for listening and participating in the chat of my Blog Talk Radio show on Friday. I will be there again this week, Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You know, there's been a lot of focus been placed on the various sides of the corporate faction in this country, and that is the continuous lambasting from the mainstream media and the continued insistence by the shills on TV and on the radio and in the newspapers that Obama, Sotoro, and the Democrats, because of their far-left ideology, were trounced in this election. And if there's one thing that I would like to see done in the aftermath of this election is to divorce the idea of progressivism and populism from any vestige of this fucking corporate and Wall Street dominated motherfucking country. And every Democrat, including Barry fucking Sotoro, is so far from a fucking progressive that you can't see it with a fucking telescope. So give me a fucking break with your propaganda bullshit. We're already seeing the agenda being lined up here. The agenda that's been pushed all along. Because we all have to be funneled into the same group path. And that is massive austerity. And what does austerity mean? Well, why don't you go ask the people in Greece and France and all the other countries that are suffering under the yoke of fucking international motherfucking banks and multinational fucking corporations and finance companies that put together ridiculous fucking pieces of paper that have no fucking value except in their fucking twisted minds. Derivatives, credit default swaps, you name it. Whatever the exotic fucking transaction that they can dream up as a way to say they own you and or your property by some kind of twisted fucking logic or proxy. This is the thing that has been supported and defended and bailed out by this failed, miserable, fucking Democratic bullshit fuckers in Congress. And by this total failure, so far from a fucking progressive, nowhere near a fucking leftist, Obama/Sotoro. And I'm beginning to believe, what was said before as a possible theory why Obama came to power in the first place, and that was to bring the far right wing of the corporate party back into power so that there is no semblance of trying to do anything populist or progressive or to address the needs of actual people in this country. Because the far rightists do not have to hide behind anything to serve the agenda of their corporate masters. They just do it plainly, out in the open. So you have people elected to office who are rabid for free trade. Rabid! And what has free trade done for you lately? Except outsource your motherfucking job to somebody working in fucking slave labor somewhere. Making a fucking pittance. And what else are we going to see brought up for debate? Well, healthcare reform. Well, let's just say that Obamacare is a big fat piece of fucking twisted shit. But the fact that the debate is coming up is a perfect opportunity to push for real reform. You're not going to get it from the cocksuckers and motherfuckers, be they Democrats or Republican-crats in office, unless you get your meat hooks into them really fast, early and often, and never fucking let up. I like single payer. I want single payer. I'm going to push for single payer again. But the only thing possibly good, and I say possibly because it could certainly be bad too, and that is that Ron Paul is poised to be in charge of the congressional oversight of the Federal Reserve. But his idea of putting us back on a gold standard is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. I'm sorry. I agree with him 100%. The Federal Reserve's got to go. There is no place for a private fucking central bank in the governing of the economics of a country. None whatsoever. That's the problem. It is the elite motherfuckers who own these fucking banks that are all interconnected and all control the economy of the world. And what do they do whenever there's economic problems? Do they do anything to address the basic underlying premises of why there are economic problems? That is joblessness and the fact that the people do not have any fucking money. But you know who does? Banks, brokerage companies, and giant multinational corporations. And any kind of bailout scheme that is done to try to address economic problems is always given to them. It's always addressed to them. I got news for you. Nothing works top down. It's bullshit. You give rich money, they don't put it into investing into jobs and production and boosting the economy. They go to Goldman Sachs and get a fucking derivative with 8 times the fucking insurance on it that Goldman is short selling them so they can increase their fucking bottom line. That's what they do with the money you give them. They don't put it into anything else, and they certainly are not going to help anybody downstream from them. The elites have been building up to this because it creates a tremendous amount of anger in people. This is used in occult rituals. This is used in their ritual magic. I think that perhaps international bankers and the cabal of people who are behind them are probably the most indebted to dark spiritual forces in this world. And they deliberately bring about destruction of societies because it releases so much negative energy. Now, as I've told you before, they may be in contact with interdimensional entities through their occult rituals and through their ritual magic and through all the other trappings that they think give them power in this corporeal world we live in. They're the ones who are going to have to pay when they realize that these creatures, entities, forces, or powers do not work to their bidding. They work to their own agenda. And they're going to be sorry if they rip open a hole into that other dimension and these creatures can come here and do what they will. Because I guarantee you there is no loyalty. And they certainly have absolutely nothing to look forward to but being a plaything to a sinister force or entity that they think they control. So all the social programs are on the table because it makes people angry. And it causes riots and chaos. And all of these negative forces feed something, somewhere, in some way. Because otherwise, they'd surely have a better plan to make it go down more smoothly, don't you think? They've been running the show for so long, they could have a better plan. They could. It could have been planned a long time ago. But instead, we have this. And you have to ask yourself, why? Stay strong. Stay focused. Do not be afraid. Do not give in to anger in how you interact. Perfectly fine to be angry. Perfectly fine to come onto YouTube and make a fucking video saying you hate this fucking shit and you wish it would fucking end. But when you decide to take action, do not do so in anger. Do so with full knowledge and using your rational mind. Do not let your emotions overtake you. So just beware. This is a plan. It's all been put into place. Think of ways that we can disrupt it in any way we can. Because chaos is not something we should desire. Because there are so many better ways to achieve a prosperous society for everybody in this fucking world, not just this country. If we have to chop their fucking hands off, figuratively speaking, then that's what we do. So stay focused, everybody, and realize we're fighting not only a flesh and blood thing here, but we're also fighting a sinister force, a sinister evil, a cabal of monstrousness behind the scenes. So I want to thank you. Make sure you tune in if you're inclined to my Blog Talk Radio this Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And thank you all for watching, and good night.